that is governing the green in terms of hardwoods is the Forestry Sustainable Council. It is a voluntary organization, just like American Woodworkers Institute. It's an architectural branch for them. It's not a government entity. FSC. FSC guarantees green sustainable hardwood simply by tracking product from one FSC certified entity to the next. Okay? So this process, this FSC certification, this process adds a premium to the product. And unfortunately that premium is 33.5%. The people that I talk to tell me that the majority of this is simple paperwork. That the certified grower delivers to a certified sawyer, who delivers to a certified distributor, who dries in a certified kiln, and then it's packaged for shipment. Okay? It has to be produced, all certified down the line. It's bundled into large bundles, obviously. And then, if it's going to keep certification, it has to be passed to another FSC member. If it's passed to anyone else, that lumber loses certification. Where it came from, how it got here. Certification from my shop, there are 5 of us, would be in the order of $6,000 every 5 years. Not to mention the warehouse space, because anything that's FSC certified cannot be mixed, or mingled, or stored, or anything else is stored. And the reason will become clear in just a moment. The other problem with FSC at this point is because it is not a large segment. We're talking probably less than 10% of the market. It is only sold in unit quantities. That's 1,000 to 5,000 feet. Bundled. It is marked, certified, simply by a spray paint can on the outside. Literally, it's just a stencil paint that marks it from there. It's a paper trail, and that's the only marking on it. This would be expensive, aside from the $6,000 cost of certification and the warehouse space that would be required in my business. If we're talking use 20 different hardwoods in a year, different species, means I got to buy 20 units of hardwood, and they sit there. Yes, they grow in value as they do sit there. Still, that's a lot of storage. It's a lot of outlay of materials that's separated from everything else. And not to mention the fact that not everyone in our market is buying certified lumber. I can't sell it to every one of my customers. There are only a small group that are. That means, for the most part, that only industrial users are in this market. And it's worked well. The one that's around here that comes to mind first off would be State College. They're doing the campus over there. Almost all those buildings have some LEED certification associated with them, and they're using certified lumber there. And they can go to the big manufacturers, and they're demanding FSC certification, and they can certainly get it. That cuts the rest of us out, for the most part. At this point in time, in my industry, in the woodworking industry in general, we recognize and track our lumber from distributors simply by the color on the end of the board. And that's not FSC lumber, although theirs has a specific color also. Each distributor literally picks a color of paint that is associated with their business, and they paint the end of the board to seal it with that color. If I have a board in my shop that I have problems with, and I buy a load of it, and I get it from one of the distributors, I'm like less than a unit, I don't know where that comes from. I go back and take the end of that board, back to that distributor and tell him it's not dried properly or whatever it is, they take that color and they go back and find out who it came from. This process has got to be 100, 150 years old. Incredible. It would seem to me at this point that this whole process of tracking FSC certified lumber could be circumvented just like a can of beans in the store with a simple barcode.
With a simple what?
Barcode. Now, that having been said, the lumber's rough. The lumber is rough. A barcode is not going to stick to this very easily. And there's a lot of boards in a bundle. So somebody's got to come up with some way to track it, not necessarily the barcode, but there's got to be some way to put a number or some kind of code on this so that 20 boards off the top of that stack could be sold, and we would all have access to this origination number or whatever it might be that would allow us to get on our computers and generate a certificate, so that the small to medium-sized woodworker would have access to the lumber that now is, used by the larger corporations, and that we have no access to. I would assume that 33% paperwork would then, of course, drop to, a pretty small percentage of the price of lumber. And I really don't have a problem with paying a premium for FSC certification. I think 33% that is unbelievable.